welcome to Riggs Shorts. My name is Riggs and this is a series of videos designed to help people stay informed with current vaping news and topics going on around the globe, to hints, tips, and sort of, I guess, tricks. Not really tricks. I can't do tricks. I can't do O's. I can breathe in, I blow out, the basics. And that's what really this is all about, is getting down to the basic, and some stuff for new people who are getting into RDAs and RDTAs and RTAs and rebuildables in general, and just some of the basics, things that a lot of us have already learned a long time ago and have developed our own sort of strategy and our own sort of techniques of how we do things. But this is really designed for those that are just starting out, because there's a whole bunch of smokers out there that are just looking to give up, and there's a whole bunch of vapors out there that are looking to try something different. So this is really for them. So you people that masterfully build those coils and set those decks up and make them look really, really amazing, this ain't for you. Okay, it's not for you. So I mean, you can still watch, by all means, still watch, but no, this is not for you. So let's pop down and let's learn the basics of wicking and RDA. Okay, so we've heated up our coils. We've made sure that they are glowing evenly, as you do. There we go, quite happy with that. Now allow it to cool down at this point, and be sure to lock your melon. Once that's cooled down, if you're a beginner, if you're an absolute beginner, I recommend using just your standard Muji Japanese organic cotton squares. Peeling the outer layer off, because as you can see, the outer layer is more tightly woven than the inner layer, which is soft and not quite as tight. Now, there's no right or wrong way to this. Many people will only peel one side off and keep the other side on. Others will just peel both sides off. There's no right or wrong way. It's what works best for you, so definitely try out different ways. And what I normally do is I will just sort of separate the cotton a little bit. I find for me this wicks really well. And then I roll it up. Not too tight. You want it to wick, but you don't want to restrict the flow of juice getting up to your coil. If there's any excess fluff, you can pull it off at the ends, like so, and then twist it like you're going to thread the eye of a needle. Thread it through your coil. Now what you're looking for here, you don't want to make it too tight. You don't want it so that it pulls your coil out of shape. And as you can see, that is starting to move it a fair bit, but it's still going through. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to slip that out. I'm going to take a few threads out. Now bear in mind, a little is a lot when it comes to cotton. Alright, so you don't need to take a load of it out, just a little, and then thread it back through. And there we go. It's snug enough to move it around, but not so tight that it pulls your coil out of shape. We're going to leave that one there, and then we're going to do the next one. Okay, once you've got to this point, now you want to measure it. And we know that the bottom of our deck, ends right there. So that's pretty much where we want to cut it. Don't pull it too tight. You don't want to pull it down like this. You just want to bend it by the end. Then snip off the length that you want. And do that with the rest of the three. Now we can make the final adjustments to the length of our cotton. What we want is we want it to just sit in the bottom of our build deck. We do not want too much cotton down there, because the more cotton you have, the more restrictive it's going to be getting juice around that cotton and up to your coils. If you're squonking, it can block your your squonk pin. So you just want your cotton to just rest at the bottom of your build deck. So we're just going to pop this in and see where it ends up. So we can already see from here in this RDA that we have way too much cotton sitting at the bottom there. So we need to trim it back a fair bit. But make sure that you don't trim too much off, because if you do, you'll have to start over again. Because you don't want to cheat and think, oh, that'll be okay, and then you start dry hitting because you don't have enough cotton to wick. Remember, don't push and shove, just gently lay it in there. As you can see, that looks a lot better. And remember, the weight of the juice coming up on the cotton is going to pull that cotton down to the deck. So that's going to be just fine. So then, take it back out. And at this point, you want to fluff it. What you want it to do is you want it to fluff out kind of like this. What you don't want is too many of these clumps of cotton. You want to take the time and fluff those little cotton fluff or knots of cotton. Go ahead and fluff those out. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. If you are a perfectionist, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that either. But it will wick just fine if it's not absolutely a masterpiece. So in the beginning, when you're very first doing it, don't worry about perfection when you are first getting into building and you're wicking. Get into functionality first. First and foremost, it needs to work. Once you've mastered getting it to work and your wicking is efficient and your RDA can keep up with you. If you're dry hitting, then your RDA isn't keeping up with you. You need to check the wicking. If it is, if you reach the point to where no matter how you chain vape, your RDA is keeping up with you, then you could start look at sculpting a masterfully built coils and wicks and all that good stuff. But right now, we're all about the basics. So once you reach this point, unlock your device. I run mine on dual coils if I'm doing this. I run them about, well, I've got fused Claptons in there, so I'm running these about 40 watts. I don't want to apply too much heat because I don't want to scorch my cotton, especially while it's dry. And then grab your favorite juice. Then what we're going to do is we're going to pulse while we apply juice onto the coils like this. All right? Apply it on there and just pulse your fire button. There. Pulse it again. And just repeat this process until your wick is saturated and the capillary action of the wick, of the cotton, goes in reverse and it starts pushing the juice down to the build deck rather than from the build deck to your coil. And what this does is it causes the wicking material, the cotton inside your coil, to swell, preventing air gaps in between your cotton and your coil. Because if you just let it juice and wick naturally, then the weight of your juice coming from the bottom up your dry cotton can cause cotton sag between your coil. And you don't want an air gap between your cotton and your coil, because you're going to get pretty burnt taste right off the bat. And you're probably going to end up re-wicking at that point. So what we're doing is we're just doing it to prevent that. There we go, add a bit to the bottom. Okay, so now that we are all wicked up and all juiced up, what we want to look for is make sure that we still have an area open for our airflow to go in. We don't want the cotton blocking the airflow. And as you can see, now that we're all wicked up and juiced up, we have a nice bit of cotton laying on both sides. And it's laying down in the deck. It's not just barely touching it, but it's just in and just starting to lay down in there. So it's going to wick up really well. But now we just take our top cap, want to pop it on. There we go. Have a look, a few draws. Yep, nice and airy, that's pretty good. Now if you have bottom airflow that's coming up under the coils rather than side airflow like the Sponza, the principles are still the same, but you just want to make sure that your cotton is not overhanging your airflow at the bottom here. That's pretty much it. Everything else is the same. It's just you don't want your cotton laying on here, because as it gets wet, it will create a drip that will come out of your airflow sitting on top of your mod, makes everything messy, and you don't want that. Well, let's back up top. Alright, so that was the first short video. I hope you liked it. The fundamental basics of wicking and how wicking works and stuff doesn't really change from RDA to RDA, though it might be applied slightly different. The fundamentals are still the same. So I hope that you can sort of take a little bit of what I've shown you and apply that to whichever RDA that you're choosing to build on. I hope there are people out there that can maybe derive a little bit of something from the video. So yeah, you guys take care, and I'll see you on the next one.